Getting started. Start by viewing the finished project to see what you'll be creating in this lesson. Double-click the 02end.html file in the Lesson 2 O2end folder to view the final project in a browser. The project is a simple, static illustration of an angry octopus character under the sea. In this lesson, you'll draw the shapes, modify them, and learn to combine simple elements to create more complex visuals. You won't create any animation just yet. In the Animate home screen, select More Presets, or click Create New. The New Document dialog box opens. Choose Advanced from the top row of categories, and in the Platform section, choose HTML5 Canvas. In the Details section, make sure the stage is 1200 pixels by 800 pixels, and click Create. Choose File, Save. Name the file 02_workingcopy.fla and save it to the 02 start folder. Using the Oval tool, rename Layer 1 to Octopus. In the Tools panel, select the Oval tool. It's hidden under the Rectangle tool. Hold down the Rectangle tool to access the Oval tool underneath. Make sure the Object Drawing mode at the bottom of the Tools panel or the Properties panel is not selected. Choose a stroke color and a fill color from the bottom of the Properties panel. Choose a light gray for the fill and black for the stroke. On the stage, draw an oval that's a little taller than it is wide. Select the Selection tool. Drag the Selection tool around the entire oval to select its stroke and fill. When a shape is selected, Animate displays it with white dots. You can also double-click a shape and Animate will select both the stroke and fill of the shape. In the Properties panel, in the Position and Size section, enter 60 for the width and 100 for the height. Press Return on macOS or Enter on Windows to apply these values. Adding the inside of the eye. In the Tools panel, select the Oval tool. Choose a stroke color and fill color from the bottom of the Tools panel or from the Properties panel. Choose black for the fill and also black for the stroke. Draw a smaller black oval inside the larger oval on the stage. I'm going to zoom in here so we can see it a bit better. Choose pure white for your fill. Draw a third oval on top of your black oval, which will be a highlight. There we go. Selecting strokes and fills. In the Tools panel, select the Selection tool. Double-click the stroke around the white oval. The strokes around the white oval and black oval become selected. Press Delete or Backspace. The stroke is deleted, leaving behind a white oval as the highlight. Choose the Line tool and choose black for the color. Draw a diagonal line that cuts through the top of the eyeball. The straight line creates intersecting shapes in the eyeball, so they can be separately selected. Choose the Selection tool and click the half dome gray shape at the tip of the eye. Press the Delete or Backspace key, and the gray fill is deleted. Choose the Curve stroke right above the straight line and delete that. One eye is finished. Using copy and paste. Select the selection tool and drag it around the entire drawing of your eye. Choose Edit, Copy, or use Command C or Control C. The eye is then copied. Choose Edit, Paste, or Command V or Control V. A duplicate eye appears on the stage, and the duplicate remains selected. Using Free Transform. Choose Modify, Transform, Flip Horizontal. The object flips so you now have a right eye and a left eye. Choose the Free Transform tool from the Tools panel. Transformation handles appear on the eye. Drag a corner point inward to make the left eye a little smaller. Hold down the Shift key while dragging to constrain the proportions so the eye maintains the same aspect ratio. Have fun with making the second eye a little crazy. You can drag the corner point to squash or stretch an object, or to rotate the object. You can also drag the sides of the bounding box to skew the object so it appears slanted. Changing shape contours. In the Tools panel, select the Oval tool. Choose a purple color for the fill and no color for the stroke. Create a large oval off to the side of the eyes. In the Tools panel, select the Selection tool. I'm going to select my eyes and move them a bit out of the way. And move this over here. Click a blank area on the stage to make sure that the large oval is not selected. Move your mouse close to one of the sides of the oval. A curved line appears near your cursor, indicating you can change the curvature of the stroke. Drag the stroke outward. The side of the oval bends, giving an octopus head a slight bulge. Drag the contours of the oval to create the big, bulbous head for your octopus. Adding variable width lines. Hold down the Shift key and click the 3 line segments of one of the eyebrows. In the Properties panel, change the stroke size to 10. Change the width to Width Profile 1. The straight line turns into a thicker line that is skinny on the ends and fatter in the middle, giving it a little more personality. Editing the width of lines. Click the 3 dots at the bottom of the Tools panel to edit the toolbar. Drag the Width tool from the drag and drop tools to your Tools panel so you can use it. Click off the Tools panel or press Escape to collapse it. Move your mouse pointer over the variable width stroke. Anchor points appear along the line to show you where the thick and thin portions of the line are located. Drag the handles at any anchor point to change the width of the line. Exaggerate some of the restrictions and bulges. Drag an anchor point along the stroke to move its location. Drag anywhere along the stroke to add a new anchor point and define the width in that location. Animate displays a small plus sign next to your pointer to indicate that you can add an anchor point. Modify both eyebrows of the octopus as you see fit. Grouping objects. Select the Selection tool. Select all the shapes that make up both eyes, including the eyebrows. Choose Modify, Group. The two eyes are now a single group. When you select it, a blue-green outline indicates its bounding box. If you want to change any part of the eyes, double-click the group to enter it. Notice all the other elements on the stage dim, and the edit bar above the stage displays Scene 1 Group. This indicates you are now in a particular group and can edit its contents. Click the Scene 1 icon in the edit bar at the top of the stage, or double-click an empty part of the stage to return to the main scene. With the Selection tool, move the newly grouped eyes on top of the head. Remember, you can resize the head or eyes with the Free Transform tool to get your graphics just right. Using the Pen tool. In the Tools panel, select the Pen tool. If it's not in the Tools panel, you must add it by choosing the Edit toolbar at the bottom of the panel and dragging it from the Drag and Drop Tools panel. Set the stroke to black. Choose Hairline from the Style menu and Uniform from the Width menu. Begin your shape by clicking your mouse button down on the stage away from the octopus head to establish the first anchor point. Move the mouse pointer to a new location and press but don't release. This places the next anchor point. Keep holding the mouse button and drag in the direction you want the line to continue. You will drag out a direction line from the new anchor point. When you release the mouse button, you will have created a smooth curve between the two anchor points. Continue to add curves to create a tentacle that moves up and down in an S-like shape, pressing and dragging out direction lines to build the outline of the tentacle. Don't worry if your curves aren't completely smooth, you can always edit them later. When you get to the tip of the tentacle, click the anchor point itself. One half of each pair of anchor point handles disappears, creating a corner point and allowing you to change directions. Continue drawing wavy lines parallel to the first curve. Close your shape by clicking the first anchor point. Select the Paint Bucket tool. Set the fill color to the same color as the octopus head. You can use the eyedropper tool to sample the fill color of the octopus head and apply it to your tentacle. Click inside the outline you just created to fill it with color. Select the Selection tool and double-click the outline to select all of it. Press the Delete key to remove the stroke. Editing curves with the Selection and Subselection tools. Select the Selection tool. Zoom in if you need to. Hover over a line segment and look for the arced line segment that appears near your pointer. This indicates you can edit the curve. If a right angle segment appears near your cursor, this indicates you can edit the corner point. Drag the curve to edit the shape. In the Tools panel, select the Subselection tool. It's hidden under the Selection tool. Click the outline of the shape. Drag the anchor points to new locations or move the handles to refine the overall shape. Lengthening the handles makes the curve flatter. Tilting the handles changes direction of the curve. Deleting or adding anchor points. Click and hold the Pen tool to access the tools underneath. Select the Delete Anchor Point tool. Click on an anchor point in the outline of the shape to delete it. I'm going to undo that. Select the Add Anchor Point tool. Click the curve to add an anchor point. Using the Fluid Brush, select the Fluid Brush tool. In the Properties panel, select a nice dark pink color. In the Fluid Brush Options section, change the size to about 20. At the top of the Properties panel, select the option for Brush Mode to paint inside. With this option enabled, the brush will affect only the fills where you begin painting inside. Click inside of the pink tentacle and begin painting a little circle to represent a sucker. Don't worry about going over the outline of the tentacle. Release your mouse button. The paint from the Fluid Brush tool only affects the inside fill of the rectangle. Continue adding suckers along the bottom of your tentacle. Exploring the brush library for the paintbrush. In the timeline, add a new layer on top of your other layers and rename it Seaweed. Drag the paintbrush from the drag and drop tools into the Tools panel if it's not there already. Select the paintbrush tool. In the Properties panel, choose a green stroke color. In the Color and Style section, enter 50 for the stroke size. This will give a good thickness for the seaweed stalks. Now to choose your brush style, click Style Options next to the Style menu and choose Brush Library. The Brush Library panel opens. Animate organizes all the brushes in large categories in the left. Select a category to see the subcategories, and select a subcategory to view individual brushes. For this task, select Decorative, Elegant Curl, and Floral Brush Set, and double-click Floral Brush 8. Close the panel. The Floral Brush 8 brush is added to the Style menu in the Properties panel, and it becomes the currently active brush style. Draw long wisps from the bottom of your stage upward. Your wavy lines become floral-appearing curves. The curves look very complex, but they're controlled by a simple vector line. You can use the Subselection tool to edit the vector path of the paintbrush mark. Managing paintbrushes. With the paintbrush tool selected, click the Manage Paintbrushes option in the Properties panel. The Manage Document Paintbrushes dialog box appears, displaying the current paintbrushes that you've added to the Style menu. It shows you which ones are currently in use on the stage and which ones aren't. Select the brushes you want to delete or save to your brush library. You cannot delete a brush that's currently in use. If you save a brush to your brush library, it'll appear in the brush library in a category called My Brushes. Creating gradient transitions. Create a new layer and name it Background. Move the layer to the bottom of the layer stack. Open the Color window, Window, Color. In the Color panel, click the Fill Color button and choose Linear Gradient from the options that appear. In the color panel, select the color pointer at the left end of the color gradient definition bar. The triangle above turns black when selected. And type 66CC/FF in the hex value field to specify a light blue color. Press Return or Enter to apply the color. You can also select a color from the color picker or double-click the color pointer to select the color from the color swatches. Select the far right color pointer and enter 000066 for a dark blue color. Press Return or Enter to apply that color. Now, I've applied this to the stroke, but I really want to apply it to the fill, so let's swap colors. Now it's in my fill. Choose the Rectangle tool. In the Properties panel, note the fill has the gradient that you defined in the color panel. Choose No Color for the stroke. Draw a large rectangle that covers the entire stage. The large square is filled with the color that gradually blends from light blue to dark blue. Using the Gradient Transform tool, select the Gradient Transform tool. It's grouped within the Free Transform tool. Click the rectangle fill in the background layer. Transformation handles appear. Drag the square handle on the right side of the bounding box inward to squeeze the gradient tighter. Drag the round handle in the corner to rotate the gradient so the lighter blue appears at the upper left corner and the darker blue appears in the lower right corner. Modifying the alpha value of a fill. Select the seaweed layer. Choose the Oval tool. In the Properties panel, choose white for the fill and the stroke color. Change the stroke style to hairline and the width profile to uniform. Change the alpha value of the fill to 60%. The color swatch in the Properties panel previews your newly selected color. Transparency is indicated by the gray grid that you can see through the transparent color swatch. Hold down the Shift key and drag out circles of varying sizes across your octopus. The bubbles are slightly transparent, allowing you to see the graphics and the layers behind it. Converting artwork on the stage into a symbol. On the stage, select only the tentacle. Choose Modify, Convert to Symbol. The Convert to Symbol dialog appears. Name the symbol Tentacle. And choose Movie Clip from the Type menu. Leave all other settings as they are. The registration grid indicates the registration point of your symbol. This is the point around which all transformations, for example, rotations or scalings, are centered, and the point that Animate uses to measure its position on the stage. Leave the registration point in the upper left corner. Click OK. The tentacle symbol appears in the Library panel. Adding another symbol instance. Select the octopus layer, drag the tentacle movie clip symbol from the Library panel onto the stage. A duplicate of your tentacle graphic appears on the stage in the octopus layer. You now have 2 instances of the tentacle symbol on the stage. Drag 6 more tentacles onto the stage. Changing size, position, and overlapping of an instance. Select the Free Transform tool and click on one of the tentacle instances. Rotate, skew, or scale the instance to make it slightly different from the original. Create variations for each tentacle. Put 4 on the side of the octopus's body and 4 on the other side, flipping them horizontally. To change the stacking order of your tentacle instances, right-click an instance and choose Arrange. Select Bring to Front to move the instance to the top so it overlaps the other instances, or Bring Forward to move it one higher in the stacking order. Select Send to Back to move the instance to the bottom so all other instances overlap it, or Send Backward to move it one lower in the stacking order. Changing the color effect of an instance. Using the Selection tool, select the tentacles that are behind all the others. In the Properties panel, in the Color Effects section, choose Brightness from the Style menu. Drag the Bright slider to -20. The tentacle instances on the stage become darker and appear to recede into the distance. Editing a symbol from the library. Double-click the Tentacle Movie Clip symbol within the library panel. Animate puts you in symbol editing mode. In this mode, you can see the contents of your symbol, in this case, the tentacle on the stage. Notice the edit bar at the top of the stage tells you you're no longer in scene 1, but are inside the symbol called tentacle. Using the Paint Bucket tool in the Tools panel, change the color of the suckers to a light orange. Click the back arrow in the edit bar above the stage to exit symbol editing mode, and return to the main timeline. Editing a symbol in place. Using the Selection tool, double-click the Tentacle Movie Clip instance on the stage. All other objects on the stage are dimmed, and you're put into symbol editing mode. Notice the edit bar shows you are no longer in scene 1, but are inside the symbol called tentacle. With the Selection tool active, push or pull on the contours of the tentacle. As you edit the symbol, notice the changes ripple through all the instances of that symbol on the stage. Click Scene 1 in the edit bar above the stage to return to the main timeline. You can also just double-click any part of the stage outside the graphic with the Selection tool to return to the next higher group level. Breaking apart a symbol instance. Use the Selection tool to select one of the tentacle instances on the stage. Choose Modify, Break Apart. Animate breaks apart the movie clip instance. What's left on the stage are the contents of the movie clip symbol, which is the shape. Choose Edit, Undo Break Apart to return your tentacle to the symbol instance. Applying the blur filter. Select the instances of the tentacles that are already dimmed. In the Properties panel, expand the Filters section. Click Add Filter, and choose Blur from the menu. Properties and values for the blur filter are displayed. If the link icons next to Blur X and Blur Y values aren't already selected, click one of them to constrain the blur effect in both directions. Leave Blur X and Blur Y at their default values. The instance on the stage becomes blurry, helping to give an atmospheric perspective to the scene. Using the Text tool to add dynamic text. Select the top layer, choose Insert, Timeline, Layer, and name the new layer Text. Select the Text tool, choose Dynamic Text from the Text Type menu in the Properties panel. Select a font of your choosing, Your font choices may not match the ones in this book. Drag out a text box next to the octopus. Begin typing. Enter leave. The text may not fit, or it might be the size or font that you don't want. Don't worry, you'll select a web font for your text box in the next task. Exit the text tool by selecting the selection tool. Add 2 more pieces of text on the stage in the same layer below the first piece of text. Me and alone. Adding a web font. Select the Leave text and click Add Web Fonts. The icon is a little globe. Choose Adobe Fonts from the menu that appears. Animate displays the Add Adobe Fonts dialog box. The list of fonts can be very slow to load, so be patient. Choose Name from the Sort By menu. A list of Adobe fonts on the right is displayed alphabetically. You can choose to sort by date, popularity, or by other criteria. Adobe fonts are listed with the sample A, B, C, D string of characters. You can scroll through the font families with the scroll bar on the right, or you can search for specific fonts, or use the category menu to narrow your search. For now, peruse the range of typefaces and pick one that you think would suit this banner ad. Click the name of your preferred font under the sample text. The style variations for that font are displayed. Select the font and click OK. Your selected Adobe font is added to the list of fonts available. Web fonts appear at the top of the menu. Select your text and apply the new Adobe font. Choose a color that works nicely with the composition. Adjust the font size or line spacing in the Properties panel to get all the text to fit comfortably in the space. If necessary, select the other 2 pieces of text and apply the same font. Removing a web font. Select all the text that uses the web font you want to remove. Deselect the font by choosing a different one. Click the Add Web Fonts button and choose Adobe Fonts to open the Add Adobe Fonts dialog box. Click the Selected Fonts tab. Animate displays all the fonts indicated by a blue checkmark that have been selected for your project. If the font has a gray checkmark, that means it's still using it in some text from the stage. You must deselect the font from every bit of text before removing it from your project. Deselect the font by clicking it. Now no fonts are displayed in the selected fonts area. Click OK. The Add Web Fonts dialog box closes. The web font is removed from the Family menu in the Properties panel. Aligning objects. Select the Selection tool. Shift-click all 3 small pieces of text. Open the Align panel from Window Align or from the side here. Deselect the Align to Stage option. Click the Align Left Edge button. Animate aligns the left edges of the text. Click the Space Evenly Vertically button. The selected pieces of text are adjusted so the spaces between them become uniform. Exporting art as PNG, JPEG, or GIF. Choose File, Export, Export Image. The Export Image dialog appears. Here the dialog box is set with GIF chosen in the Optimize File Format menu, but the pull-down menu contains other graphic format as well. This dialog box will look different with other settings. Choose the appropriate file format, select the amount of compression, select a color palette, and even compare different settings to weigh image quality and file size. You can also resize the image.